Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark of the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1992 Taiwanese drama Rebels of a Neon God. Hey, well, maybe this is the movie for you, or maybe you should skip it. I'm going to go over all of that right now. I'm reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started in the 1920 silent movie era. I'm going chronologically on this list, and I'm now at 1992 with Rebels of a Neon God. This movie has a 100% fresh rating from the critics and a 77% fresh rating from the audience. It was directed by Ming Liang, and I believe this is the first movie that I have seen directed by Ming Liang. Coincidentally enough, this is the second movie that I've watched in a week that is set in Taipei, Taiwan. So I don't know if there were just a lot of movies that came out in the 90s about Taipei, if this was a time when Taiwanese movies were really starting to be popular and they were really starting to really get their footing in the cinema, or what the reason was. But yeah, second movie I've seen in a week that's in Taipei. So essentially, this movie revolves around a few different characters. We first meet a gentleman named Kang. Now, he is either high-level high school or low-level college age. I'm not really sure his exact age, but he attends a school called the tutorial school. Which I thought was funny. It's very vague, and I don't know what they teach at the tutorial school. It reminded me of a Norm Macdonald skit I saw where he talked about his neighbor who worked at the School of Science.
You know, what do you do for a living? I'm a nightclub comic, I tell the guy. So he says to me, he says, I work down at the University of Science there. He says,
also very vague. But anyway, he attends this school that his parents pay for, I believe, and he lives with his parents. Now, alternatively, on a different timeline, there are two other characters named Tze and Ping. Now, they are petty thieves, and Zing lives in a house that is constantly flooded. It's an apartment that is constantly flooded. I believe, you don't really find out why, although I believe that this is because he is poor, and it's just trying to show how the kind of situations that poor people live in, the kind of upbringing that they have, and maybe explaining why he's a thief and why he is the way he is, because he's just trying to survive in the mean streets of Taipei. So he ends up meeting this girl named Kuei. She has just slept with Ping's brother. It's a one-night stand, and after this one-night stand, her and Tze take the same elevator. They go downstairs. She has no idea where she is. So she asks Tze if he could take her home on his little motor scooter that he has. Now, he agrees to do this, and while he's taking her to her house, Kang and his father are driving to the movies. Kang has gotten out of school for the day, and his father says, just skip the rest of your day and let's go see a movie. Now, Kang's father and Tze get into a bit of a road rage incident, which I really don't think is either one of their faults. I mean, I don't understand. Tze kind of like goes in front of Kang and kind of zips past him, and then Kang's father starts putting the horn on. So I don't know. It's a weird event that they both could have handled better. But Tze ends up destroying the side window, the side mirror of Kang's father's car, which upsets him, and Kang's father decides he's no longer going to take Kang to the movies, and they kind of part ways. The story then kind of focuses on Tze, Ping, and Kuei. Now, after this happens, Ping and Tze tend to hang out a lot together with Kuei, but she wants to hang out with Tze, just the two of them, because she is attracted to him, and she doesn't want the third wheel to be around anymore. So she asks if they can hang out together without him there. Now, he agrees to this, of course. They end up sleeping together, and then the next day, Tze and Ping end up going to this arcade. Now, this is an arcade that is shown throughout the entire movie. For me, it's very nostalgic. There's a lot of Street Fighter. There's a lot of movies that I played in the 90s. So it was enjoyable watching them play these old arcade games, and they end up going to the arcade late at night. They sneak in and they take like either the motherboards. I don't think there's graphic cards in these machines, but I really don't know what's in an arcade. The way they unhook the piece of the thing that they're unhooking from the arcade, it seems like it's either a motherboard or maybe like a big graphics card or something. But they end up stealing 10 of them and they leave. Now, while Z and Kuei are sleeping together, going on this date and sleeping together, Kang has been following him for a while, and when he ended up quitting his tutorial class. He took out all the money, and then we see him just totally destroying Z's bike during the dead of night. Now, you kind of have to put this together because the movie doesn't tell you this, but apparently he dropped out of school so that he could pursue Z, so that he could get revenge on Z, like totally destroying his dad's car. Not really destroying his dad's car, but like damaging his father's car. I was wondering throughout the entire movie what Kang was doing because it was hard for me to really pick up on what he was doing until they just give it to you at the end of the movie. This is what he was doing and why. Now, when Z sees that his motorbike is destroyed, he is of course very upset by this. Him and Ping trying to sell their parts that they stole from the arcade back to the arcade, saying that it is parts that they recently acquired, and hey, we heard that you guys might be needing some parts because maybe some of yours were stolen. Well, we just so happen to have some parts right here. Now, of course, the people from the arcade realize eventually that these parts are theirs, and that these parts were stolen by these two.
你问请人咧教咧？
是恁摕？
毋是啊，哪有阮摕？
你要看清楚呢，敢是这两个啊？莫后
阮小姐讲因两个啊。
And they go on a foot chase, trying to chase down these two hoodlums. Now they end up getting Ping, and they just beat the heck out of him. They really just they beat him so badly that he's just bloody and bruised and swollen all over. Z ends up finding him and taking him back to his flooded apartment. And when he gets back there, Kuei ends up coming over. And for some reason, Z has decided to end his relationship with her. Who knows why? I don't know. The relationship was kind of weird anyway. He didn't really seem like he was always that into it. She seemed like she was more into it at times. So whatever. I honestly, I felt bad for her because, he's obviously not a rich person. She's not with him for the money. She's with him because she generally likes him. And I thought it was sad that at the end of the movie, it doesn't seem like there's any reason for him to not want to be with her. He just turns cold on the situation of being with her. But then I think at the very end of the movie, they get back together. So, I don't know. And I don't know if Ping was actually okay or not. She ends up hugging him at the end of the movie. I'm assuming he recovered. But I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, that's the entire movie. I thought this movie was pretty good. I thought the last half of the movie was definitely better than the first half of the movie. The last half of the movie really has the action of them stealing the parts out of the arcade, the chase, the beating of Ping, and then at the end of the movie, you really feel like there's at least some sort of tension. You really feel like there's some sort of drama with Ping being injured. You really feel the camaraderie and the love that Z has for Ping, which I don't think you saw that earlier in the movie. At least to me, it wasn't as prevalent in the movie. You really see the feelings that Kuei has for Z. It didn't seem like before that there was a lot of love in this relationship. It was really a weird relationship to me, to be honest. But you kind of see everything at the end of the movie come together and kind of be what you thought it would be. This movie is full of just scenes that I love. I love everything in the arcade, but that's just nostalgic for me. It was the same when like the arcade and Terminator. Give me an arcade with old 80s and 90s games, and I'll watch those scenes forever. It reminds me of going to like a Dave and Buster's, but with old games. Like Street Fighter, the original Street Fighter, which was awesome. I absolutely love those scenes. I love how this movie is really dark and gritty. It really pulls no punches. You really see how these people live. You really see sort of like with Kang and his family, when he drops out of school, his family basically disowns him. And I don't think they ever take him back. I think he kind of lives from place to place as he's following Z. I don't remember them ever taking him back. And I don't think he ever really explains to them why he dropped out of school or the fact that he did it to avenge his father. But you kind of see how the family dynamic is. Like, if I was younger and I did that, my family would totally understand me dropping out of school. They would be fine with it. Whatever I pursued, they would be okay with it. But in this type of family dynamic, it is definitely seen as something that's impossible to forgive, it seems like. It's also interesting seeing how poor people lived. I honestly have never seen a movie where someone lives in an apartment that's like flooded all the time. You can hear the water dripping as he's inside of the apartment, which is phenomenal. I love the way they shot those scenes. It seems like the cinematography and the directing in this movie is fantastic. There's scenes of motorbikes like driving down the freeways, which is also really cool. There's a lot of neon colors in this movie, especially when they're in the arcade. There's a lot of like bright colors, but it also is contrasted with dark colors because this movie is dark. Most of it's set at night, or in dark settings, which I absolutely loved. It really paints the atmosphere and it paints the picture that they're trying to paint in this movie. And all in all, I thought it was a really good movie. I will say the first half dragged a little bit for me. The first half was a little boring. I wasn't sure where they were going with this. It's an hour and 47 minutes. I would say I really wasn't sure what was like where they were going with this until like an hour and 5 minutes in. When you finally realize what King is doing, when you finally realize like that these two petty thieves are going to actually do something of consequence. Because before they weren't really doing that much of anything. They were hanging out a lot. They were like a throuple, like three people, like a three-person couple. There wasn't really that much action, that much going on. It was more of like setting the scene. It was more like atmospheric things. There wasn't any action. There wasn't any story, really. There wasn't anything driving this movie until like an hour and 5 minutes, and then everything happens, and you're like, okay, well, now that everything has happened, I can kind of look back and think about all the things that I enjoyed this movie. And there were a lot of things that I enjoyed this movie. I just wish it wasn't as slow and as hard to get through in the first like hour and 4 minutes. But besides that, it was a decent movie. I will say that I enjoyed it, and I give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's what it deserves. I hope you join me next time. I will be reviewing in my next review a movie called Passion Fish, which I have not seen yet. So hopefully I will be able to watch that this week. My plan is to watch that and then Searching for Bobby Fischer, and then review those hopefully on Friday, Saturday, and then review the Three Colors Red on Sunday, and try to continue doing 3 a week until I get to Santan Tango, which is a 7-hour movie, which will be the only movie I review that week. So thank you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night.